Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is May 9th, and our reading is the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And that's the United States Constitution. What they said: we are free to worship as we please and cannot be compelled to bow to secular saints, no matter how well-intentioned they may be. The separation between press and state should be absolute. We can say what we please. Speech is not violence. Burning, looting, and mob mayhem is violence, and it's not protected. Asking government at any level to change is sacrosanct. The noble ones invite us to try out the principles of the Dhamma and decide for ourselves. The interconnection between thoughts, words, and deeds are deep and intimate. Controlling what people think by controlling what they can express, both in written or oral form, has been a long-time object of totalitarian governments. During the Cultural Revolution in China, the kanji, the Chinese characters that were used to express the old ideas of Confucianism, Taoism, and other thoughts, were changed. They were rendered in a different form with a different pronunciation, and eventually this simplified lexicon made it impossible for people to express pre-revolutionary thoughts. And it would be funny when you look at George Orwell's 1984, he talked about this. The Newspeak had three vocabularies. The A vocabulary was activities of daily living. The B vocabulary consisted of words that had been deliberately constructed for political purposes. And the C vocabulary was supplementary. It added some depth to things. But one of the declared goals of this whole process was to render certain ideas literally unthinkable. He gave an example of here's a quote, a typical sentence from a Times leading article, which he renders as, "Old thinkers unbelly feel ingsoc." And he goes on, the shortest rendering that one could make of this in old speak would be, those whose ideas were formed before the revolution cannot have a full emotional understanding of the principles of ingsoc. And that's what they're looking for. They want an emotional reaction. We don't want you to stop and think about this. We want you to just do it because you feel it in your bones. There's another example about about the manner in which people speak. And so with this newspeak, what they wanted was for people to just blurt out things without engaging their mind at all. This is the kind of verbal logorrhea where you just spout a whole bunch of shibboleths and witty sounding nuggets, and everybody nods their head like they actually understand what's being said, even though it's utter nonsense. And what they called this was duck speak. And so duck speak meant quacking like a duck. And like other words in the B vocabulary, it was ambivalent in meaning. When you applied it to somebody who disagreed with you, then a duck speaker was a bad thing. But if you were talking about a valued mouthpiece for the government, then you could say something like, he is a double plus good duck speaker, and it was high accolades. So preserving the right to express ourselves and to have the thoughts that lead to that expression is a cornerstone of being fully human. We are not artificial intelligence, nor should we be reduced to such. And that's why we're in favor of the First Amendment all the way through. So happy trails to you until we meet again.